Grandmaster Vaishali won the FIDE Women's Grand Swiss 2025 and he secured her place in the candidates tournament. A crucial step towards this triumph came in the penultimate round where she defeated former women's world champion Maria Musuchuk. So let's look at this game. Vaishali has white pieces and Maria is black. So Vaishali starts with the move e4. Maria goes for c5. The Sicilian knight f3 gets played. Knight c6. Vaishali goes for the open Sicilian. Then Maria plays the move knight f6. Knight c3 is played. Then Maria plays the move e5. So she is ready for the sharp battle in the Sveshnikov variation of the Sicilian. Then Vaishali plays the move knight db5. d6 gets played. And then there are two ideas. One is bishop g5 and then one is knight d5. So Vaishali chooses to go for the move knight d5. Knight takes d5. Then there is e takes d5. So the knight goes back in this position. Black loses a tempo. But then there is some imbalance because there is this 4 versus 3 majority on the king side. And then black can try to do something there. While white will try to do something on the queen side because of the pawn majority and some space advantage there. And now, in this position, Vaishali played the move rook g1. So she was still in her preparation and she had prepared this rare idea for the player who plays Sveshnikov. So in this position, Maria played the move bishop e7 and Vaishali played the move g4. So later she had said that she had this interesting idea prepared of keeping the pressure on the king side. So she could directly also play g4, but then since the bishop is not on e7, there would be some idea of maybe kicking the knight. So dealing with knight c7 threat and then bringing the queen or something like that. So she's like, all right, let's first play rook g1. And the bishop goes to e7, then she will play g4. So now knight d7 gets played by Maria. She thought for slightly more than 5 minutes and then she decides that okay, let's continue with the regular development. Then Vaishali played the move bishop e3, then a6 was played. He brings back the knight. Now in this position, Maria plays quite a natural move. She plays bishop g5. Because g4 has been played, the dark squares have gone weaker. So she's like, let's exchange that bishop and then she can continue. So Vaishali played bishop takes e5. As it can be noticed, this is her first big thought of the game. So she has 1 hour 34 minutes. So she started with more time than the beginning. So she had started with 1 hour 30 minutes and she has 1 hour 34. So she was still in her preparation and now she goes into some thought and then goes for bishop takes g5. So basically it could be that maybe she's trying to remember her preparation or she's out of the preparation. But anyways, in this afterwards, she said that she thought that she had prepared this endgame that is happening after queen d2 and then it is quite strong for her. That's what she thought in the game. But Maria is able to create good enough activity. So it seems like maybe Vaishali mixed up some variations. So she should have played knight e4, centralizing the knight. And after queen e7, she can play queen f3. And she keeps the pressure and white is doing better in this position. So, but she goes for queen d2. As I said, maybe mixing up of some variations. And then she concluded that white has a strong play here, but how Maria plays after that is quite instructive. So in this position, Maria plays the move b5. She's like, all right, let me just try to not allow any of those a4 ideas of Vaishali and try to stop her queenside activity. Then in this position, Vaishali played the move a4. She wants to go for the queenside activity, but in this position, she should have started with the move b4. So basically fixing this pawn so the pawn cannot be pushed and then she can go for a4. So that would have given her more activity on the queen side. Now, before we look at the game further, I want to discuss something with you. So soon on chessneurons.com, we are coming with courses. So we already have daily positional puzzles. My detailed explanation is there. Weekly videos are there. Discussion forum is there. Blogs are there. Blunder puzzles are there. And now there will be full-fledged courses. So you can deep dive into these topics. Then you can increase your knowledge. So please stay tuned because courses are soon coming on chessneurons.com. So let's continue with this game. As I mentioned, b4 would have been a better move by Vaishali, but she played the move a4. Then after b4 was played and she played knight e4, centralizing the knight. So king e7 was played, defending that pawn. Then a5 was played. So Vaishali thought that, all right, let me not allow black to play a5 and this pawn will be weak. So Maria in this position played the move knight c5. She's like, all right, after this exchange, this will be the pass pawn, but I can block it with the king. At least this pawn of mine will be defended. And knight on c5 is also doing a good task of stopping this idea. So then Vaishali is like, let me maintain the tension. I'll play f3. If you want, you can exchange the knight and I'll get my pawn here. So then Maria plays the move bishop d7. So it's covering the square even further. Then knight takes e5, d takes e5. Then Vaishali plays the move bishop c4. And then in this position, king d6 gets played. Now please remember an important principle. So in this case, basically Maria plays this king d6. So maybe there would not be such type of ideas in future as well. So now, when there is same color bishop endgame, please remember to not allow your opponent to fix the pawns on the same color as the bishop. Because the more number of your pawns are on the same color as the bishop, what will happen is that one of the pieces of yours, maybe the bishop, maybe the king, maybe the rook, will have to be occupied when those pawns are being attacked. So in this position, Vaishali should have played the move h4. Maybe she can go for g5 in future. So basically lesser number of pawns on light squares, so it will be better for her. But she played rook e1. This is not the best move because Maria takes advantage of that move and immediately plays the move g5. So she's like, now I'm not going to allow you to play g5, and then I can put some pressure on the king side as well. She's planning to play h5 now and then try to create some activity on the king side. Then h4 gets played. She plays g takes h4. So basically now Vaishali recognized that she has to complicate the matters. And then in this position, rook h1 is not that great because then there will be h5, h takes g4, and things are not that great. So Vaishali recognizes that she has to complicate the matters. She gave up one pawn and she's ready to give another pawn. So this is very important that when you feel like things are not going in right direction, you can try to sacrifice some material to complicate the matters. And that's what Vaishali is doing here. So f6 gets played. She plays g5. She's like, all right, let me keep the tension. Let me keep the pressure on Maria. And then there's a chance that she might crack. So e takes f4 was played. By the way, there is one more thing I want to bring your attention to. Look at the time that Vaishali has. She has just 1 minute in this position versus 22 minutes of Maria. And they would actually get some extra time after 40 moves. So basically, she has this 1 minute and then she would get 30 seconds increment every move, and they are just at move 25. So this is going to be difficult for Vaishali. How she manages it, let's see. So e takes f4 gets played, g takes f6. She gets the rook on the 7th rank. And then, so Maria pushes the pass pawn. Now Vaishali brings the king on the king side. Bishop f5 gets played. Rook h4, even this pawn is lost. Now, Maria centralizes the bishop with bishop e4. So that's not a bad move, but a better move would have been, so this rook is not doing much. She can try to play this. Yeah, this pawn will be lost, but then this pawn can be captured. c4 can be played, so it won't be that bad for her. So she goes for the move bishop e4. Vaishali just plays king f2. Because in this position, if something like bishop d5 is played, then there is rook d1. If rook f5, then rook h6. And things are bad for Maria. So she plays the move king e5. Vaishali plays the move b3, rook d8. Then she plays rook e1, putting some pressure through the e file. And then f3 gets played. She plays the move rook h5. Quite a complicated battle so far. Rook f5 gets played. Vaishali plays the move rook h6. And in this position, Maria had to play the move rook f4. defend this bishop. And the position is quite complicated. And both of the players are in time trouble. So Maria makes a mistake here. She plays the move king d4. Huge mistake, because Vaishali can now play rook h4, putting pressure on this bishop. And after rook e5, she can play the move rook e3, threatening this mate. And say, for example, if something like rook e8 happens, then she can play d6. Because if so, something similar happened in the game. So we'll see what happened and why d6 is important. So, but for now, basically rook h4, and then there is this pressure and rook e3, and it will be too much for Maria to handle. But Vaishali was also in time trouble, so she played the move d6. She keeps the advantage, but not the best move. Now Maria had to move the bishop, so there would be no rook h4 idea. At least the king would get there and the position would remain complex. But then she plays the move rook g5. She tries to go for this rook g2 check. But now Vaishali identifies the opportunity to play rook h4. So the point is that this wouldn't be that much helpful, because king f1, there is this pressure over here. If rook e8, then there will be this d7 and it will be lost. So Maria plays the move rook e5, then Vaishali goes for the move rook e3. So she is threatening rook d3 mate. So in this position, Maria goes for the move rook e8. Now Vaishali has just 47 seconds and she has to make it to the time control to get the extra time. She will get on 40th move, and she plays the accurate move d7. So earlier I mentioned that what is the point of getting the pawn to d6? That is to get it to d7. But why? The pawn is getting lost. So it's not about the pawn getting lost, because rook d3 check, and then if king e5, then this rook will be lost. And if rook e7, so now this rook is not defending the other rook. This rook is undefended. And then Vaishali can take advantage of it by playing rook d3 check, king e5, and then rook takes e4. That was her plan. So the main point is, so Maria, by the way, resigned in this position because after king takes e4, there is rook e3 check. After king d4, there would be rook takes e7. So if that d7, rook e7 would not have been played, so for example, so let me just go back. So in this position, if the same thing would have been played, then the rook would be on e8. So Vaishali played the move d7 to force that rook to get to e7. And then there is this rook d3 check, king e5. And then after rook e4, Maria resigned. So there were certain ups and downs in this game. But of course, it was a crucial game for both of the players. And in time trouble, such mistakes would happen from both sides. But Vaishali played a fantastic tournament, and she deservingly won the FIDE Women's Grand Swiss 2025. And by the way, she was the defending champion, because she had won the last edition of this in 2023 as well. So congratulations to Vaishali, and wish her the best for the candidates tournament. So thanks everyone for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.